Okay, good morning to all of you. Thank you, first of all, thank you very much for attending this fruitful workshop. As you all can see, today we are going to discuss one of the important topic as an academicians. So we always have to do applications. The academic writing is one of the key things we need to practice and we need to improve, right? The writing skills, right? Right. So you know, sometime back, that the writing is very tedious task, right? So we have to read literature, right? And we have, first of all, we need to download many papers, and then we have to spend hours and hours to read these papers, and we need to understand the concepts, and we need to do some dispatching, and we need to find out the knowledge gaps, right? So it takes very long time, right? The learning curve is very high, right? So today, thanks to AI, right? So we can minimize, right, this learning curve, right? So therefore, we can produce our applications. We can improve our academic writing with the help of these tools. Now, the technology always introducing new applications to make our life easy, right? So therefore, it is must to have some awareness about these tools and get the right knowledge about how to use these for our academic work. So therefore, today we are going to organize a workshop about smart writing, AI tools and techniques for academicians for academic work, right? So you know, this is one of the key things nowadays, right? We are going to consider in academic work smart writing, right? For that we can use, there are lots of AI tools, we can use them to make our work easy, right? I'm Prema Kulatilaga, you know about me, right? So I'm your today's instructor trainer. These are the learning outcomes of today's session. So I would like to spend 4 hours with you to complete this workshop with practical. First of all, we'll see what are the learning outcomes we are going to achieve today's workshop. To evaluate the effectiveness of different AI tools by comparing their features, capabilities, and applications in various academic contexts. To develop advanced prompting strategies and techniques to maximize the utility of AI tools in academic writing and research. To implement the IMRD. IMRD stands for Introduction, Methods, Results and Discussion framework using AI tools to enhance the structure and quality of academic writing. To formulate a systematic literature review by compiling and validating relevant sources, utilizing AI tools for evidence-based validation and ethical considerations. Right? So these are the outcomes you are going to achieve today. And I organize my presentation based on these outcomes, these contexts. Right? First, I'm going to give you a brief introduction about AI, Gemini, and large language models. Then, I'm going to discuss about prompting, the different prompting strategies that we can follow. And then, evidence-based validation, which is one of the key things you must know when you are dealing with AI tools. Introduction to ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot or Copilot. Introduction to IMRD framework, and then how to apply this IMRD with AI tools. And prototype validation, and finally how to apply ethical aspects to our writings. Right? So these are the things I'm going to discuss with you today. So I'm going to divide this workshop into 2 parts. The first part, I'm going to discuss about prompting, right? So I'm going to make you familiarize with some of the conceptual things about prompting. I know you are using ChatGPT or any other large language model to make your life easy. That is not a problem, right? But maybe you can take some insights, theoretical insights, right, to make your work more sharp, right, and more systematic, right, when you are using these tools. That is my objective, right? So I know you are using them, right? According to the pre-workshop survey, I got to know that, right, you are using various AI tools today. But in this workshop, I'm going to introduce you some strategies and some principles behind that, so that you can apply these principles and strategies to make your work more focused and more accurate way. Right? In the second half of the workshop, right, we are going to compile a systematic literature review with the help of different AI tools. Right? So that is that. Right? So today we are not going to compile the full SLR. Today I am going to introduce you some techniques, right, to apply. Right? So then after familiarizing with them, you can use those techniques for your publication work. So that is the target, that is the expected outcome at the end. Then I wish you can publish many work, many papers in near future, right? Maybe in per year, maybe more than 3, 4, right? So you can produce with the help of these tools, right? So that is the target. Okay. Right, before start today's discussion, so I want to know, right, some background about yourself, right? This is about competency check, right? So I have prepared a Google form, right? So you can scan this QR code, and then there are some criteria for you all to fill up, right? So if you have some competency based on that questions, please mark, right? So then I can get some idea about my class today and about my this workshop participants, right? So shall we do it within 5 minutes, right? So you can scan this QR code and you can access that form and try to fill up it, right? The resource folder, and from there you can access this material, right? And then from there also you can scan, right? The presentation slide is already distributed and it is saved on the desktop of your PC, right? So you can turn on the PC and get it from the desktop, right? You can copy it and you can save it in your dashboard. bothering about the first few questions, understanding AI tools, advanced prompting strategies, and implementing the IMRD framework, systematic sequential review formulation, practical application and integration. So this is not related to today's workshop, based on your experience you can comment. And the rest is directly related to today's workshop. Knowledge of ethical consideration. This engagement and participation directly related to today's workshop, right? So right now, if you leave this part, that's okay. But I need your feedback for the first 6 questions. So it is about your technical soundness about this topic, right? Okay, overall, now I got 8 responses, right? Accordingly, so today we have participants from agriculture, applied science, Department of Computing, and Department of Information System, Faculty of Management Studies, and Department of Information Communication Technology, Faculty of Technology. And now these are the current situation. Understanding AI tools. Yes, you are actually confident about these tools, right? But when it comes to this, how to explain and apply them to academic context, yes, you need some improvements, or you need some guidance, right? You expect that guidance from this workshop. And advanced prompting strategy. Yes, you have some idea about how to develop effective prompting by because you already used this, right? But when it comes to developing strategic or sophisticated prompts, right? I think you need some guidance. And when it comes to this advanced prompting techniques for academic writing and research, still no response, right? That means you want to learn that and you want to improve your knowledge up to that level, right? And then implementing IMRD, you know about IMRD, but how to implement it using AI tools, you are curious on that, right? And demonstrate the ability to enhance the structure and quality of academic documents. How to improve quality? You have some awareness about it, but still you are struggling to improve that knowledge. And systematic literature review, you know what is systematic literature review according to these responses, but demonstrates the ability to validate sources. Using AI tools, you need to improve, you need to know about it, ensure evidence-based validation. It's a new concept taking, right, for you all, right? So you are planning to learn that, right? And question number 5, practical applications using practical applications and integration. So this maybe we haven't started these activities yet, right? But you have marked, you have sent some responses. It's okay, right? So this will come in the evening, right? After completing the activities, we can discuss about the progress you achieve. Actually, the first 6 questions, about 4 questions is enough for me to get some understanding about your competencies and also what to expect, what should I focus, right, in this 4 hours of time duration, right? So thank you for sending your surveys, responses, right, for this survey. Right, let's move on to the content now. Right, so the first topic is introduction to AI, right? You know, AI is a very broad area, so this is not the right time to discuss all about AI, but in simply, we know, right, AI is mimicking, right, human intelligence by machines. right? So we try to give the human reasoning, criticisms, decision making to machines, right? So the machine can act like humans, and then they can interact with the human or the environment like we are doing in the everyday life, right? So AI involves developing algorithms and models that enables computers to learn from data, right? Basically, we have to give data, right? Learn, right? The content, right? And extract the needful patterns. Then, based on that patterns, the computer can get the knowledge and it can apply that knowledge to do some intelligent work, to make decisions, right? And also, depending on the models, depending on the problem we are going to tackle, we can scale up these problems up to the complex problems, right? So then the computers act like humans to extract the knowledge from data and apply that knowledge to survive, we can say, or make some decisions, right? So I think you know the difference between the knowledge and intelligence. What do you mean by knowledge and intelligence? From where you can get the knowledge? You can get the knowledge from books, newspapers, media, right? So we can from everywhere we are going to extract the data, right? So then we learn on that data. We use that data to identify different patterns, we process by using our brain, and we try to extract the needful things from that data. And then we use that learned knowledge, we can say that extracted patterns or extracted information as knowledge, right? So we use that knowledge to make some decisions or to do some reasoning, to do some predictions, right? So that is how we are going to apply that knowledge. Apply the knowledge for survival or making some decisions or reasoning or prediction, we call intelligence. There we apply the intelligence, right? We use knowledge extraction and application of knowledge for problem solving in this technical workshop, right? Using different AI tools, right? In another terms, I want to tell you that we are going to use AI, right, to do our work, today's academic writing work. So then the next topic, right? What is generative AI? In short terms, we call Gen AI, right? What do you mean by Gen AI? Gen AI is also a part of AI. It's a subset of AI. So in Gen AI, what we are going to do is, again, we are going to show large volume of data, and then these models, Gen AI models, learn, extract patterns, right, based on that given data, and it keeps that data, that knowledge, right, in its algorithm, and then using that knowledge, it can create new things, right? It can create new things. It can generate new things depending on that learned data based on that extracted patterns. It can generate the new things, new outcomes, right? Sometimes it may be a music, sometimes it may be an image, sometimes it may be a solution for a complex mathematical problem, right? So first we are going to show the similar type of such cases and using some data, and then the model learns all that patterns, right? And finally, we can simplify, we can solve similar type of such problems in a creative way based on the knowledge it extracted from that data repositories or data sources, right? So, if you focus on the second point, bullet point here, it involves training models to learn patterns and structures from existing data, and then using that knowledge to generate new content that resembles the training data, right? So here I want you to pay the attention to this word, generate new content. It always try to generate new content, right? So if you are familiar with convolutional neural networks, so neural networks, right? So this is not a technical session, because your background is from IT, so that's why I'm asking this question. You know that in convolutional neural networks or neural networks, we are going to train those models by using data for one specific task, and then it can act, right, accordingly. right? For that training task, right? Let's say if you want to predict let's say stock market, then we are going to train the model using the relevant data, and then that model is capable of doing that, right? It is not about generating new content, it's about prediction, right? But this generation part, what happens, it can come up with the new things, innovative things, very new things, right? It is not there actually, right? It is not based on, it is not directly based on some content, right? It takes many things and generate new things, new outcome, right? So that is the difference in Gemini, right? In simply, I can tell you like this. You can give some description about your, let's say you want to go somewhere. Let's say you haven't been in Switzerland, right? But you know about Switzerland, that environment, right? Now you are giving a prompt. You are explaining, yes, I want to spend country like Switzerland, and that environment should be like that. So then finally you can ask, can you generate scenery in Switzerland? You need to get an idea about that country. So then based on that ideas, based on that given instructions, it can understand your requirement and it can generate a scenery, right? According to your thoughts, right? So then that is not there, maybe that is not there, that is not exist in the databases, right? It automatically generates based on your thoughts, right? But the same thing, see, this is very personalized, right? Then let's say the second person can come, and again he wants to generate another scenery in the same country, but his thought process is different, right? So then we can explain his whole ideas about that country, about that scenery, then give that prompt, and then he can generate that scenery. Maybe it is similar to the previous one, maybe it can be different. It's totally based on the ideas, it's totally based on the thoughts, right? So the next important thing is, now you can understand these models always try to generate new things, right? Generate new things, right? So when we are going to generate new things, error is there, right? Always error is there, right? So when we are going to develop our own programs, you can understand we are always checking for bugs, right? We always spend some time to fix the errors, right? So this is also some kind of a generative work. New thing will come, right? It will construct new thing, right? So then the error is there, right? But we have to select the best models to minimize that errors, right? So this is the point where we need to consider about the real intelligence and artificial intelligence, right? Still, artificial intelligence cannot beat the real intelligence, right? So therefore, when you are going to use these models, always, right? The endpoint is from your side, right? So you have to validate it, right? So whatever you obtain from these models, you are the validator, you are the checker, right? So then, if you are okay with that content, then you can apply it, right? Therefore, I want you all to remember the last point. However, it is essential to note that generative AI raises ethical considerations such as the potential for creating misleading or deceptive content and the need to ensure the responsible use of AI generated content, right? So this contains some ethical issues and also this contains some errors, right? So therefore, when we are going to use these tools, we have to give some concern about these issues, right? Okay, so then how generative AI works, right? The next topic is how generative AI works, right? So actually, first what it performs is it starts to learn from data, right? And then it extracts the needful patterns, right? And then using the patterns, it can generate the new contexts, right? So that is what we can get from these models, but we cannot stop from there. So we have to do the refinement, right? We have to do the refinement, right? That means we have to verify whether that the generated content is right or wrong, right? According to our experience or the knowledge. Sometimes we don't have enough knowledge to evaluate that content, right? So that is why we always ask to show this to a peer, right? Peer review is also sometimes important, right? So if it is out of your control, if you are not okay to validate these outcomes, you have to show it to your peer, right? Then you can get the corrections or suggestions from your peer, and then based on their suggestions, you can refine your prompts or your whatever interactions, right? To get the new contents based on that prompts, right? And also, after getting these outcomes, after getting these refined outcomes, you can use them for developing various applications, right? So you can apply it for your models or whatever day-to-day problem solving. So therefore, in generative AI, so when we are going to use it, we have to consider about the quality of response, quality of prompt, and also model understanding. So these are the basic functions from our side as well as the model side we have to cover, right? So quality of response, right? So once we got the response, we have to check its relevancy, accuracy, and the coherent. Coherent means the logical and consistent, right? The logical and whatever the content you got from that model should be logical and it should be consistent, right? And the quality of prompt. You have to bother about the clarity of your prompt and specificity. Most important thing is the specificity, right? The clarity you can get from your English, right? But the specificity is another effort you have to put on it to make it more specific to your domain or whatever context you are working on, right? Sometimes you miss this part when you are prompting, so therefore you get some misleading output as the response. And also you have to double check the relevance, right? Whether it is okay with my work, right? And model understanding, ability to interpret, right? Sometimes you want some interpretation. You want, because now you know about Bloom's taxonomy, right? You are educators, right? So you know Bloom's taxonomy, right? So then we always think about the higher level, higher knowledge levels, right? So when we are dealing with this education related, basically the pedagogy, right? So we are going to consider about the higher level of Bloom's taxonomy, and that is what we want to implement or improve, right, in our learning community, right? So in there, the synthesis and interpretation is very high knowledge level, right? If someone can synthesize, someone can interpret something, right? So that is what we call a very high knowledge level. The models also can do that because this is generative AI, right? It can simulate, it can synthesize, it can interpret, it can criticize, right? So this is, you have to verify, you have to bother about the strength of that interpretations, strength of that simulations, right? And also the training, right? Now you know these models actually develop based on trained based on the past data or the open access data, the publicly available data, right? So how about that data volumes, right? So what is the quality of that data, right? Used to train these models, right? So the outcome is totally depend on that the strength of that training, right? And also the design, the model design, how they have designed that model, what type of structure it has, right? What type of structure, you know, in GPT we call it has the transformers, right? A transformer is kind of a machine learning model, you can say neural network model, right? It consists of transformers, right? So then we know, and also it linked with natural language processing, right? So that is the outcome of this GPT model. Basically, those are the underlying technologies, right? So we must know how these models design, right? And the current context, up to what level, what context we can apply these tools, right? So we cannot use these tools blindly because based on this model design, based on the training of these models, right? Actually, this focus, this is specific for some specific domains, right? So we have to understand that background before applying these tools for our day-to-day work. And then we can look at this large language model, right? Now I actually give a brief overview about AI, then I narrow down the topic to Gemini. Now large language models. Large language model is another outcome of this Gemini. Now here we develop models, right, to train, to understand, manipulate, generate human language, right? Human language. That means the language we use to communicate with each other, with humans, any other human, right? So how these models train them? Actually, it is based on different types of open data, right? Different types of open data. And the developers, the owners of these tools, models, right? They design various AI models to perform various tasks, right? So this AI model, this foundation model is the AI model, like this is the large language model. It is trained based on these open access data or open data, right? And then why they develop these models, why they train those models, just to do various tasks as listed here: question answering, sentiment analysis, information extraction, image capturing, object recognition, instruction following, right? There are many more, right? Whatever you want, you can do it by using these models nowadays, right? Right. Today in this workshop, right, we are going to explore three large language models: GPT, Gemini, some people call Gemini, some people call Gemini, right? And Copilot, some people call Copilot, some people call Copilot, right? So whatever expression you are familiar, you can use to call these models. It's up to you, right? Okay, I'm not going to read the entire slide, but I want to pay your attention to some of the features in this table, right? Primary use, right? Look at the primary use. GPT-4 broad spectrum text generation, right? So we can use GPT for text generation. But see, other two, Gemini and Copilot, is a conversational AI and information retrieval model, right? Also, this Copilot enhances search experience with AI integration. I hope that you know this GPT developed by OpenAI, so they are the owners, right? And Gemini is the creator, Google DeepMind, right? Research, right? And Copilot is the owner of Copilot, Microsoft, right? But actually it belongs to GitHub, but now GitHub belongs to Microsoft, right? Therefore, Copilot is Microsoft. The ownership actually is with Microsoft, right? So now you can understand these three are large language models, but the focus is different, right? And look at the training, right? Diverse text from books, website, right? Basically, it's trained based on books and websites, openly available books and websites, right? Look at the Gemini, directly integrated with Google search data, right? It's trained based on the Google search data, right? Okay, so then the Copilot integrates Bing search data and AI capabilities. Now you can understand, right? I told you have to think of the training, right? The data which used to train these models, right? Now you can understand, based on that data, these models extract the knowledge, right? So now you can understand, right, the difference, right? So if I ask if you want to do academic work, which one you are going to select first? If you want to do an academic work, right, let's say research paper compilation, which model you are going to select out of these three? Any idea? Copilot. GPT, right? GPT is the one you have to try first, right? Okay, then right. So look at the interactivity. GPT-4 high with dynamic and contextual relevant response. Likely high, Gemini likely high focus on conversational engagement, and also Copilot high, especially in enhancing search interactions, right? So if you want to search something, right? If you want to search something, let's say keyword searching, right? During your brainstorm time, you are going to Copilot, let's say research proposal, or if you want to, let's say, write your maybe research paper, right? First, you need to find out the keywords, right? So which one you are going to select at that time. Here you got to give priority for the searching, right? Searching, right? So then, what's the best? Gemini or Copilot, right? So you can use those, and then you can pass that knowledge to the GPT, right? Okay. So have you practiced in that way when you are dealing with these models? Are you working with multiple models? You said that you have some experience, right? So those who have experience, please tell me, have you used that technique? Means using with multi-models to generate your final judgment to whatever outcome, right? So you need to understand that thing, right? Okay, so then the real-time data access, this is another important thing, real-time data access, right? See, GPT committed to training data up to 2023, right? If you want to find out something happening in 2024, can you get that knowledge from GPT? Can you get that knowledge from GPT? You cannot, right? You cannot get that knowledge from GPT, right? If something has happened very recently, right? Let's say some tragic incident, right? So you want to write a scientific report on that incident, right? So can you find that information from GPT? You cannot, right? Because it's happened very recent, right? But you can get the help of Gemini. Why? What's the reason? It's based on Google search data, right? Google data, right? So then you know you have the up-to-date data there, right? Okay. So then contextualization and flexibility, right? GPT highly adaptable to various tasks and industries. For the academic work, if we directly focus academic work, yeah, we can recommend GPT, right? And also the industrial work. Let's say you want to generate some code snippets to fix the bugs in your codes, right? Or if you want to, let's say, generate some steps for your algorithm, or if you want to plan some, let's say, experimental setup, right? Let's get the help from here, right? And see the contextualization and flexibility of Gemini. Focus on conversational AI. Flexibility in responses time, right? So you cannot do much scientific things directly from here, right? And also here integrates with search engine capabilities, adaptable in responding to the right search questions, right? So if you want to get keywords, if you want to get some very recent updates about things happening around you, right? So you can think of these too, but finally, if you want to compile something academically sound, you have to check it with GPT, right? Okay, so here I put GPT-4. I think you know it has different versions, right? GPT 3.5, GPT-4. Now we have another one, GPT-4.0, right? For 0, and that is for what? For 0 for what? That is mini version, I think, right? It is for, GPT-4 is, that is not 0, that is for optimizing, right? Right? Optimized GPT. You know, when you are going to solve complex problems, right? It takes some time, right? But this GPT-4 optimized version actually optimized, facilitate for solving complex problems. If you look at the GPT this interface, you can see these options, right? And the other one is GPT 4.0 mini or something, that is for mobile version. That is for working with mobile. You can understand the mobile phone, we have limited hardware, right? But still, if you want to try with complex cases, you can use that version and you can try it, right? So that is for the optimization purpose. But irrespective of these things, directly you can use GPT-4 or 3.5 for your work, right? Okay, so what is the difference between GPT 3.5 and 4? If 4 is not, 4 is paid version, 3.5 is free one, right? But still you can use 3.5 for doing lots of things, right? But the accuracy point of view, GPT-4 is better than 3.5 and also a little bit updated than 3.5, right? Right. So now we know, right, what type of tools we are going to use today, right? So then how do we interact with these tools, large language models, right? The only way is prompt, right? So we have to query, we have to question, right? We have to question these large language models to get the expected results, right? So we call that process as prompting. Prompting refers to the input or question that you provide to the model. Right? So when you are going to do this prompting, pay your attention for these bullet points, right? Initial statement or question. You should have a question first of all to prompt, right? And then the context, right? Intended output, tone or formulate, specificity, instructions for response format. How do you want the outcome, right? How it should display the outcome for you, right? So I will show you one example so that you can understand this, how you are going to manage or how you are going to craft your prompts, right? So you don't need to put all these things, right? That means you can combine them as you wish depending on your requirement. But these are the key things you need to follow, you need to think, right? When you are going to create your prompts, right? So see the initial statement of question here. Can you provide an overview of the latest advancements in AI technology? So this is the question, right? This is what I want to explore. So that is the initial statement of question. See the context. I'm continuing the same prompt like this. I'm preparing a presentation for a tech conference aimed at IT professionals and researchers. The focus is on recent breakthroughs in AI, particularly in machine learning and natural language processing. Right? I want to discuss about machine learning and natural language processing. Right? So then I narrow down these AI technologies that I want to explore. Right? So now I gave my context and also where I want to present it. Who are my audience? Right? So I mentioned. Then the next intended output, I need a detailed summary of key advancements, include notable research papers, emerging trends, and potential applications in various industries. Right? So if you want to be more specific, you can specify what industry you want, like medical industry. Right? Tone or formality. The tone should be professional and informative. Then the ChatGPT can understand, okay, I want to generate my content in a very formal way, right? So if you say that this is a casual discussion, I want to share this thought with one of my friends or one of my students, right? So then it will generate it in different, right? So it can understand the role and based on that it can generate the content, right? So if you are going to work in academic domain, right, it is better to specify the tone you want. Right? So that it can generate the content accordingly. Right? If you want, you can make your large language model as the consultant. Right? So then when it generates the content, it acts like a consultant and then give the response accordingly. Right? Specificity. Please include examples of groundbreaking projects or technologies released in the last 2 years and mention any prominent researchers or organizations leading these innovations. Right? Now, see, what type of specific things I want to get. Right? I highlighted these are the specific points I want. Right? And instruction for response format. So this is how I want your response. Organize the response into 3 sections. Summary of key advancements, notable research papers, and trends, potential applications in industries. I want to generate the content according to these 3 topics. Each section should be clearly labeled and concise with references where applicable. Right? So this is how I want to see my output. Right? So then the entire prompt. So you can see how many sentences there. Right? There are so many things, and you organize your prompt by considering those question on text, the intended outputs, don't formulate it, specificity, instructions for response, right? So you can use these features as you wish depending on your requirement. There's no rule to apply all these things in one prompt, right? So depending on your requirement, you can add, right? Okay, shall we do small activity now? Right? Can you open ChatGPT 3.5 and don't use your academic email to register with ChatGPT. Use your personal email, right? And use GPT. And by considering these right features, can you generate prompts, right, for your whatever research question you are interested in, maybe depending on your area of specialization. You can open GPT, search and get GPT, and then you can follow these instructions and prepare your prompt and see what you can do. Right? So meantime, if you have any question, you can ask and try to generate your prompt. Yes, and if you can try out your prompt and see how. Because now you have different research interests, right? So try to generate a prompt, right, according to your research interest and see whether it generates the outcome that you can satisfy with that. Right? See, try to find out that, right? Whether you want further improvement, whether you want refinement, and or you can satisfy with the outcome, right? The response is generated. Try out that and see. So if you feel any difficulty to generate your own prompts based on your own specialized area, what you can do right now, you can copy this prompt and try, right, and see what type of response you can get, right, and cross-check the response with the features I highlighted over here, right. So then you can verify, you can validate the output, right. So later you can then make some changes and you can come up with your own prompt. That is also possible, right. So here the objective is to understand these features, right. So you need to understand these features. So when you are doing prompting, you have to use these features, right, in your prompt, right. I'm explaining the same thing again. You don't need to put all the features to prepare your prompt, right. Depending on your requirement, you can adjust, right. You can select what you want, right. Okay, with output. Don't you feel that you want further refinement? Now, sometimes you, because if you are the expert, you know, right, about the content, and then you can understand what type of refinements you need to add for your prompt, right? Do you have any question? Anything else to get to know further, or any unclear point? Yeah. Shall I move on to the next topic then? Are you okay? Right. So, I hope you have done the activity. Right. So then, now you know when you are going to generate the prompt, you have to define the clear objective, be clear and precise, consider context, set the tone and style, ask clear questions, avoid bias and learning questions. Right, so what is that? Bias. Avoid bias. Right. So don't ask the direct questions. Right. Don't ask the direct questions, because if you ask something directly, then the large language model respond directly. You cannot get the general perspective of that whatever question you ask. Right. So don't ask direct questions, and always minimize some of the the bias keywords that you are going to add into the prompt, right? So then you can get the generic outcome, right? So don't highlight. Now let's say if you want to develop an experimental setup, and think about the randomness of selecting the samples, and based on that generate your response. Sorry, your prompt, right? Don't specify. Don't give the details of your samples unnecessarily. Then actually it will focus on one factor, right? So when you are going to select the samples, it should be balanced, right? It should be balanced, and it should cover all the variations, the variables you want to try out in that particular case, right? But if you specify one type, right? So this is what I want to test for the moment, then it will focus on that particular part only and give the response accordingly. That is not general. Sometimes you cannot apply it for all cases, right? But if you want a general outcome, then you have to prompt in a balanced way, right? Without highlighting that type of information in your prompt, right? So you need to identify bias keywords, and you have to minimize them as much as you can, right? But see, these are not hard and fast rules, right? These are some of the conventions we have to apply, right? So the work is completely from your side, right? So then you know how to manage the terms and the activity, right? So try to understand that and right? sometimes you can find out some pitfalls, right? So this is, if you read some content, you feel like, okay, this is not the right thing, right? To interpret or specify that. I want it something like this way, right? So then you can continue your prompt, right? You can ask, I want this change in your write-up, right? So you can say, I'm okay with what you generate, right? But I want this change. I want to embed this change in your output, in your response. Then it will take that feedback and refine and generate the new response. Again, you have to validate. Again, you have to validate and you have to check, right? Until you get satisfied, right? So you have to go with this cycle, right? So therefore, we can identify these prompt generation steps. Crafting a good prompt, clear, it should be clear and specific, so we can verify the clarity and specificity of that prompt and specify type of response. So what type of response you want, the format you want at the end. Then finally, if you are not okay with the output, you have to go for the review process, right? So then we can start another cycle, right? So there is a term, we call this as what is that? What is that prompting, that style? What is that prompting style? So we are going to go with chain of thoughts, right? So first we get something. If we are not okay with that, we apply some changes. That is also from our training, right? And then we try to give that input to the model, and we are going to refine the output until we get satisfied. Okay, so then now you can understand, in this world there are two types of prompts, right? What are those? Good prompts and bad prompts, right? So now you can understand, now you can actually identify how to find out a good prompt, how to find out a bad prompt, right? If it is a good prompt, it should mix with those features, right? Those features we discussed, right? And if we see the entire chain of thoughts, we can find out how the user refined it, right? So then we can understand how they finally generate the right outcome, how we can generate the right outcome, right response, right? So therefore, now here there are some examples for you all to understand. Depending on different cases, so if you consider about the clarity, right? See the good prompt, generate a prompt on emerging trends in cybersecurity technologies for IoT devices from 2022 to 2024. That prompt writes something about the tech security, right? So now you can see it's very broad, right? That prompt very broad, right? Not specific, right? And also that's now most of the cases, if you want to find out the shortcuts, we directly ask, okay, find out the research question for me, right? Do the brainstorm for me, right? You cannot do that, right? So you can do something and give some response, but that is not what you want, right? So if you want to get the right outcome, what you need to do, you have to give a strong prompt, right? In the prompt, right? Look at this ethical boundaries, analyze public domain to identify trends in investment patterns in the renewable energy sector. Use confidential financial reports in the bad prompt. Use confidential financial reports to analyze the company's internal investment strategies. Right? Sometimes we can do prompting like in that way. Right? Sometimes we give the names. Right? Some identities. Right? I want these things. Right? So we give some identities. Right? In our prompt. Right? Actually, GPT can control these. Right? But there are some loopholes. Right? If you say confidential reports, GPT respond you that this is not ethical, I cannot do that, right? And if you ask about your personal details or someone else, the sensitive details, right? So you cannot get that as the response from the GPT, right? GPT can control it up to a certain level, but when it comes to research sometimes, right? Maybe it is open, therefore there can be some loopholes. Right? So therefore, you have to find out in which places that we can get some sensitive data, and if you directly take them and publish or put it into your document, sometimes the document is not particular, and also due to this, due to revealing that sensitive information, there can be a chance to reject your write-up, right? So therefore, be conscious on that. And here there are some good and bad prompts for you all to compare during your free time to get some understanding about how to formulate them. Okay, so then again I have given a checklist, right? So when you are going to do this, right, so you can find out whether it is specific, real or contextual under the content and context domain, and whether you are going to reveal some personal identifiable information. Are you going to violate or are you going to break some regulations, right? Local ethics, depending on your research, right? So are you going to align with local ethics, right? So these things you can consider under ethical and legal boundary, and also evidences you are going to generate, expert reveal, up-to-date information. If you are bothering about these things, that means you are going to validate, refine your prompt, right, by considering these aspects. And also finally, you have to generate simple, relevant and actionable prompt to get the right response, right? Sometimes if you write the vague prompt, right, ambiguous prompt, even the GPT cannot understand the exact thing you want, right? Therefore, you must stress the GPT. It doesn't mean that writing the word ambiguous sentences as the prompt, right? You have to stress GPT. Stress GPT means your prompt engineering is perfect, but you are going to find out, you are going to find the right information by stressing, right? GPT. That is different, right? But don't stress GPT by giving ambiguous prompts, right? So then you cannot get the expected outcome from the GPT, right? GPT or whatever large language model, right? Now this is the next very important topic I want to share with you. So this is evidence-based validation, right? Now you can understand, you know, features and the concerns when you are dealing with this GPT or whatever language model you are interested in. But when you are going to generate the content, think about this cycle, right? So this is what we call evidence-based validation. I told you from the beginning, there are two intelligence, real intelligence and artificial intelligence. Out of these two, the real intelligence is the most powerful intelligence, that means the intelligence field, right? Evidence-based validation means we should have the evidences for this, whatever outcomes we are going to generate, and from our side, as the human, by using the real intelligence, we need to validate. That is must, right? I will explain why I say so in later with the tools, right? Okay. Now, when you are going to do this process, right? So first you have to have some key terms depending on your requirement, right? And then you have to search, right? These key terms from this whatever model you are interested on, right? Sometimes when it comes to academic write-up, right? So you have to find out these key terms from the academic databases, right? To find the literature, right? So then you have to find out the proper search strategy, right? To generate the content, right? And then now I'm focusing a little bit to the academic writing, right? So based on that, this evidence-based validation cycle presented here. And then the first, we need to have some kind of keywords, and then we have to search it from the large language models or academic databases to find the relevant literature. And for that, you have to come up with a very good search strategy, right? And then we are going to screen the literature, right? Because depending, you can search whatever, but all are not relevant to your work, right? To find out what is specific to your work, you have to do some screening, right? You can generate maybe 1,000 research papers or 1,000 ideas, but all are not relevant to your work, right? There can be some specific set. So for that you have to screen what you want, right? And then after this you have to do the critical evaluation, corroborate, change the AI, look for consistency and consensus, right? So this is what we call evidence-based validation. This is the place where we try to apply our own knowledge, our own criticism, our own synthesis, right? To select, to validate, right, what we obtain from the search, right? And then we go to the next level, that is synthesis and documentation. Then we can stress our GPT models or whatever large language model to generate the synthesis or generate the content, synthesize or interpret it according to our requirement. Compile and synthesize, validate, response, document and sign. Then after that we can get the content and we can put it into our documents and we can review for the further refinement, right? So this is in the last stage, that is review AI output. We use the real intelligence to further refinement, right? So in this case, right, so when we are going to do this further refinement, don't forget to follow these operations as well. Always check the relevance, right? Relevancy, right? And also accuracy confirmation, right? So you get some information, you feel like, okay, this is relevant to my work, but check whether the information is factual and validated after it, right? Accuracy. You have to give some rate for the accuracy of that content. And then based on that, you can go for the next level, context correction. Ensure the response is appropriately contextualized within the specified framework. That means maybe you are going to do a medical imaging related research and see your data, whatever you extracted, is focusing on that topic, right? Maybe you have factual correct responses, but not direct to the context, right? So you have to filter them out. And also the sensitivity review, identify and address any potential issues related to the sensitivity, inclusivity or bias in the response, right? Your whatever your findings should be generic, right? It should not focus to one specific target group or sample or any key points or the ideas in that particular research. It should be balanced, right? See whether you can generate, you can get the balanced response, right? And if you need further refinement, then go for further refinement, right? So you can do this when you come to review AI output, right? So after you complete these steps, right, you get something, right? And then when you are going to before applying it for your final compilations, check whether, right, these content are strongly aligning with your task by following these validation steps, right? So these are some extra things. Maybe you feel like more theoretical, but if you can understand the real meaning of these terms, right? When you are doing this practically, it will come out, right? So but we must know, right? There's something behind this. There's some science behind it, some procedure behind this. I can't say science, I can say procedure behind this. If you can follow that procedure, then your prompt is strategic, right? Maybe you can get the right out responses very fast. That is the requirement, right? You cannot spend long hours to do prompting rather than read that. It is better to read the research papers, right? So now we are going to reduce that the time, right? So in that case, in order to reduce that time, you should be a good prompt engineer, right? So then only you can get the right responses, right? Okay. So then I want to explain you different prompt strategies, right? The first one is chain of thoughts, right? Chain of thoughts, right? So here, when you are going to generate the prompt, right? So you can explain it with some step-by-step way, right? Then your prompt looks like sequential, right? Step-by-step reasoning process. I will show you the example. This is the problem. How many slices of pizza will each person get if there are 3 pizzas, each cut into 8 slices, and there are 6 people, right? Now, forget about large language model. If I give this question to you all, how do you solve this? You have to break them into small steps, right? So then only you can come to the final output. Inside this large language model, it also performs the same, right? How it performs it based on the way you prompt, right? Based on the way you prompt. Now you can understand this question question itself contains some sequence, right? To approach, to give the answer, right? So then we can understand it contains some steps, right? So it will generate these steps inside and give the answer. And if you want to see how, let's say if you can you try this prompt and see what you get at the end. You can try this question. How many slices of pizza will each person get if there are 3 pizzas, each cut into 8? So you can copy and paste, right? And see what you get as the output. The answer is each person will get 4 slices of pizza, right? See? And whether you can get that output. You can copy the slide is there. Let's go. There's a folder called resource inside. Can you get the steps? Right. And sometimes, right, if you want, you can ask, show me the steps. Likewise, you can ask, right? From GPT, you can ask, right? So if you give partial differential equation, and if you want to get the answer, it will generate the answer. But if you want to see the steps, how will you reach out this answer? Show me the steps. Then it will break the steps and show you, right? How that equation solved, right? Okay. So the next one is skeleton of thoughts, right? The next one is skeleton of thoughts. Now previous one is chain of thought. This one is skeleton of thoughts, right? Skeleton of thought is an outline or framework that organizes key ideas or steps in a logical order. It serves as a structural guide for developing detailed content, right? So actually this chain of thoughts and skeleton of thoughts looks like same, right? But if we analyze their actual behavior, we have 2 different applications. Right? The first one is best for chain of thought is best for mathematical calculation, problem solving, and logical reasoning tasks. But the skeleton of thoughts is better to write some reports, prepare some presentation, right? And writing some, let's say, this academic write-ups, proposals, or whatever academic documents, journal articles, conference papers, right? So you can understand these documents contains a certain outline, right? There is a specific way to write organize the content. If you consider about a conference paper, first you have to write the abstract, then you have to write the introduction, then you have to write the methodology. Likewise, you know the way the content are organized in those documents, right? So then you can understand there is outline, and even for thesis also, thesis, technical reports, right? So you have that outline, and this GPT can organize, understand that. So if we try to develop our prompts based on this skeleton of thought strategy, yeah, we can get a good outcomes based on our document writing and academic writing. Right? Let's say you want to plan your lab manuals, right? Practical classes, lab manuals, right? Or lesson plans, right? You can easily do that using this technology, right? And based on this pattern, this strategy, right? So look at the example. The problem found is the same problem, right? I'm going to give this GPT, right? So according to the skeleton of thoughts, how we try to understand and organize that problem is like this. Actually, it identifies the structure, right, of that particular problem solving, right? So see, you can see here, identify the total slices. Then under that there are two steps to complete. Number of slices per pizza multiplied by the number of pizzas to get the total slices. So that is the first part. And the second part, calculate slices per person. So this is the way you are going to calculate the slices per person. Divide the total number of slices by the number of people. Then that skeleton going to be applied to sort out the calculation, right? So actually we are not using the skeleton of thought for this type of calculation, but I just want to highlight the difference between the previous one and this one, right? In the previous one, directly understand the steps and try to simplify the answer. So there is a sequential way to execute the steps, but when it comes to skeleton of thoughts, right? This is the way we try to identify the problem, right? So we try to identify the structure of that problem, structuring it first, and then try to break them into the executional simple steps and give the answer, right? But this one is good for, this mechanism is good for when you are preparing some documents like lab manuals, research papers, academic papers, like that, right? So then there is no specific labeling mechanism. So this is what we call chain of thought. This is what we call skeleton of thought. This is how the large language will try to understand our query and give the response, right? So there is one technique. So this is a very simple one. This is the very basic step we are actually following. Zero-shot prompting, right? We ask direct questions. What is AI doing in 1 sentence, right? I'll show you something. I have some examples here also. Fact-based question. Who was the first president of the United States? The first president of the United States was George Washington. Creative task. Write a short story about a dragon who loves to bake cookies. Do you know about this story? No, right? But this is a new idea. Maybe it will generate a story for you, right? See, we ask direct question, one question. I want a story about this. I want to know about this. I want the definition of AI in 1 sentence, right? I want what is generative AI in one sentence, something like that. This is what we call zero-shot prompting, right? In zero-shot prompting, the user provides a clear and direct prompt or question, and the model uses its trained knowledge to generate an appropriate response. What do you think about the accuracy of this zero-shot prompting? For some questions, you can get the right answers, right? But for this creative one, we don't know, right? It will generate for you, right? Okay? In your free time, just try to work with these prompts and see what type of story it will generate about this dragon and dragon loves to make cookies, right? Okay, so then see, this is different one. How do you make a cup of coffee, right? Do you know how to make a cup of coffee? Do you know, right? So then ask it from GPT and see how GPT generates a cup of coffee and see, and then validate it whether the way you do it right or wrong. Just try to find out, explore it, right? This is a direct question. How do you make a cup of coffee? You know how to make the cup of coffee, tasty coffee, right? But see how GPT generates that, right? The recipe generates by the GPT, right? You ask some food recipes later and you can try it, right? If you have less ingredients, right? Explain. I have on these things, right? Can you generate some recipe for me to eat, right? Then you say I want shorty, right? So sometimes it can generate recipes, right? So I'm not responsible for anything after that, right? But anyway, you can get something, right? Okay. Right. So if you are interested, you can ask this story. Great question, right? Okay? Are you okay with the copy? Cup of coffee? Correct? Right? Make a generation. Same process. Okay. Next. So the last strategy, few short learning, few short prompting, prompting. So here, few short prompting, the user includes a few examples in the prompt to guide the model on how to perform the task, right? That means we are going to show some examples, right? And then we ask the GPT to learn that style and generate give the answer for that question, right? So then I have students here also, right? This is not for them, for the other people, right? Our academic members, right? So you have to be very careful in this case. Our students can, right, show. So this is my writing style. Learn this style first of all. then generate the report for this question in this way. Likewise, they can answer, right? So then the writing style also can be mapped, right? Understood, right? So this is how we show the first example. Let's consider the task of generating analogies, right? We will provide a few examples of analogies to guide the model, and then we will ask it to generate a new analogy. Here are some examples of analogies. Cat is to kitten as dog is to puppy. Bird is to nest as bee is to fly. Teacher is to school as doctor is to hospital. Now terminate the following. Sun is to day as moon is to God. Right? So then it can fill that right? Okay? So it learns that pattern, right? And then select the suitable term and then fill it, right? So look at this example, writing emails, right? So meeting, now this is the first example. We will give the first example, right? And then we give another example, right? Then we know how to if we can understand your writing style, writing pattern, right? Then we give, now write a formal email to invite the colleague to the conference, right? So these two are your previous letters you already done, combined, right? Maybe using your manual process, right? So you put that samples and then you ask to write a formal letter to invite the conference, right? So then it will understand your learning style, your writing style, writing pattern, and based on that it will generate the invitation or the message, right? Okay, so that is also possible. Otherwise, it will follow the normal way it follows, and there's no any personalization sometimes, right? But if you show it, show what you want, right, again and again, right? So then it can understand your style and generate the letters or whatever items going on, right? So this mechanism is called few short prompt, right? This mechanism is called few short prompt, right? Okay. Now the next, right? So what happened? Right now I'm going to ask the general question, right? So we are facing this problem as academicians. This is not going to be right? This is forwards, right? Okay. So what happened if our students follow this prompting strategy and generate some content? How you are going to punish them? Are you going to punish them if they copy and if they use AI content in their write-ups? What is your idea? Hands up those who agree with, okay, I allow my students to use these tools and apply. Hands up. Hands up. No. Then others no. Right? Okay, it's up to you, right? But I allow, right? My suggestion is allow them to do so, right? But the real intelligence cannot create the artificial intelligence. You are the educator, you are the lecturer, trained lecturer, so you know how to validate, right? So therefore, and whatever they write, right, they're responsible. For each and every word, they must be responsible, each and every word, right? So if you feel like this is an examination, so you can call these students and ask, explain this sentence to me and show, demonstrate that outcome to me, right? So you mentioned this term in this way, I want the same thing from your output, show me, right? If there is no such, then don't allow them to learn. Means you can, at that time you can punch, right? Whatever you can do, right? To improve the quality of their learning, right? But yes, but the students, from the learner's point of view, even we are also learners, right? Some point of view, we are also learners. We are also in that lifelong learning cycle, right? So sometimes we want to do some, let's say, research, or we want to write some investigation report based on certain incident, right? Which we are not familiar, right? At that time, right? So you can use this tools, right? And you can get some idea and then validate it and write down, right? So don't erase the prompts at the end. Keep that prompts. You can save it, right? Keep that prompts with you. Even ask your students to keep that prompts with them. If you want to check it, you check it, right? So then you can understand how they try to find out this information. And if they become responsible, what we write, what we present is no issue. For me, it's not a problem actually. But even in academic, in research and publications, when you are doing higher degrees, right? Sometimes in the university also there is a proofreading company branch. Why they are there? Why the student, why the university allow to establish a proofreading company branch in the university? Right? They are actually bothering about the writing quality, right? Quality of academic writing. Right? That's why. Then sometimes when we are writing grants, writing proposals for the grants, we put some budget breakdown for the proofreading. Right? But now we don't need to spend that money. We can do it with the help of this AI tools. We want to improve, right? We want to rephrase, right? Our content, right? So that we can use this as a guide, right? Okay. So now you know about these strategies, right? And finally, you have to validate these responses, right? AI responses. So in order to validate the responses, you can use this cross-reference with reliable sources, evaluate logical consistency, consider ethical and social implications, iterate and clarify as needed. If you want further clarifications, go for that. Check factual accuracy, and finally solicit human review. Right? So if you are not happy with your own review, your own validation, ask someone else to review the write-up for you. Right? And also there are some tools to detect the AI content now, right? So even we can check, right, our write-ups with the help of that. But accuracy point of view, these are not up to the high accuracy level, right? Because you can understand this is the generated content. How do we validate without having a ground truth? How do we validate? It's quite challenging, right? So if we have a ground truth, then we can validate it, right? But without having that, we can only find out the patterns and we have to check the pattern frequency. The frequency of occurring the same pattern again and again, or the wordings, right? So based on that, we have these tools we work out and generate the similarity or the AI generated content, right? I will show you later in this workshop, right? Okay, and here, peer review and feedback for generated content. When you are going to do this human validation, don't forget to present your prompts and responses to your peer and show your introduction of connected sections for them. And don't forget to show how you validate the generative AI response. Right? So then your peer can analyze, right, your approaches, and then if it is sufficient, then they can improve. Otherwise, they can give some comments to refine your prompts. Right? Okay, now we can move on to the activity. We will take the break at noon. Right? Now we have 15 minutes. Right? So we can do this activity. Now what we need to do is we have to draft a research question that you would like to explore using various generative AI tools. Right? So this is the activity now you need to do, right? For this work, right? So you have to use these three large language models, right? Now this is the research work. You are going to generate a research question, right? So you have to use Gemini, Copilot, and GPT, right? So then you have to generate your research question based on that. Now I have given one example here. This is how I try these three to generate a research question. Actually, I select the research question based on my PhD work, because then I can easily validate, right? So those days there were no this type of tools, right? So then I did everything manually, right? So then I use the same question right here to verify, validate, right? Whether this content is, intended content is right or wrong based on the claims I did in my case, right? So therefore my question is, can you generate a cutting edge free research questions on LDCD, low dose computed tomography classification for cancer detection and staging for deep learning based research? I hope you know what is research question mean by. The research question means gaps, right? Research question means gaps, right? I hope you know that there are two types of literature reviews. One is narrative literature review, one is systematic literature review. We use narrative literature review to find out the open categories, right? That means the research questions, right? So using the research questions, we can start a systematic literature review to determine the significance of those research questions, right? So when it comes to narrative or traditional conventional literature review, what we are going to do is, these are our literature, right? That means our documents, our whatever articles we downloaded from the databases, we input this literature and we get the research gaps, right? Or we can call research questions, right? So this is the end of our narrative literature review. This is the outcome of narrative literature review, right? So when it comes to systematic literature review, SLR, we have to input this one or two gaps, right? You can input one research question or you can input more research questions. It's up to you, right? So then this will generate the significance of research of selected research. Okay. So this is the output, right? Significance of the selected research gap, right? So now, if you don't have any idea, now let's say you are planning to do your higher studies, or if you already completed your higher studies, then you are planning to secure the grant, right? Research proposal. Then for that, you have to write a research proposal, and there you have to clearly highlight the research questions, right? Therefore, first you have to do a narrative literature review. That means a survey or narrative or conventional traditional literature review to find out the open gaps, right? After that, because in research, this is the most important part, right? If this is okay, everything is easy. If this is complex or if this is ambiguous, you cannot do the research as you wish, because lots of problems will come if your research problem is not clear, right? So therefore, you have to spend good amount of time to clearly find out your research problem, right? So then after that, now, right, you cannot stop from here. You have to prove, right, my research problem is a significant problem, right? Otherwise, no one will care about your research, right? You have to show that this is significant, right? How do you claim the significance? This is one way. You can do the systematic literature review, and then you can show the result, right, to validate the significance of your research problem, research question, right? So today you can try in the second part of this workshop, you can try either narrative literature review or systematic literature review, right? But now in this activity, what we are going to do is we are going to generate a research question with the help of these three large language models, right? Okay, right. Again, here we are going to learn how to use these three models, right? You cannot directly ask the question and don't be happy with that outcome, right? So after getting something from this, you have to do further analysis. You have to apply the real intelligence for the validation. If that response is passed from your human validation, then probably you can claim. Don't forget that one, right? Okay. Now what in this workshop, in this time, in this activity, what we are going to do? We try to generate a research question based on our interest by using these three large language models. Right? Let me show you a sample first of all. Right, so this is the activity I completed for the same problem. Right? See, first I have GPT-4 as well. First I used GPT 3.5. I raised the same question. Can you generate the same question, right? Three research questions on LGCT classification for cancer detection and staging. So I got three outputs, right? So then I tried the same question using GPT-4. I compared the results, right? So then I found that GPT-4 is more stronger, but I saw some common problems highlighting the same in both the large language models. Then I didn't stop my work from there. I used Gemini, right? So then from Gemini, I faced the same question. And I asked, so this is how I got the results from Gemini, right? So when I compare the results with ChatGPT, these research questions are a little bit strong, right? Because I know the domain, right? So and the way it analyzes the results and the way it presents the results, I thought I could be able to find out some open areas, very good open areas in the cutting edge technology from here. But when I tried the same the Copilot, right? It was amazing, right? So I got the output with the evidences, with the test. Then this is more trustworthy than the GPT and the Gemini, right? So actually I put this screenshot here. So here, the three research questions were there with the literature support, right? And also, it gave me some directions to do further refinement for my prompt to find more information about the research question, right? So then I got these three, compared with all, and then actually I know this field, therefore I can select one out of this directly because I know the field. But if I'm not totally exposed to that field, what I need to do, I can do further validation. Actually, I can find out the common outcomes, and from that common outcomes, I can further validate and select one research, right? So this process I can do, right? So now I open the same activity for you all to try out based on your expert area and try to come up with your research question. And after that, right, after finalizing your work, there is a Jamboard, right? So you have to put your research question to that Jamboard. Okay, so then we can see what you try to do in the afternoon based on that research question. Okay, right. So Jamboard activity you can do here. So there is another QR. So you can scan that QR and you can type that research question to a sticky note and send, right? So then I can see that we all can see your output here, right? So then I'll show you how to open the Gemini and Copilot. So for Gemini, you can use your personal Gmail account and go to Chrome. personal email, and here you can see the apps, Google Apps, right? From here you can find out Gemini. So just click on that, you can use it. Right? And for the Copilot, you immediately use Edge browser. Right? Go to Edge. And here you can see Copilot. It's integrated with the search. You can click here and you can open Copilot. Right? Now you have the 3 large language models. Now you try it, right? So don't stress these large language models with ambiguous prompts, right? Then you cannot get the right output, right response, right? So it should be concise, but it should cover what you want, right? Okay? You analyze all the research questions, and if you want further refining it, do it. Right? Don't take longer time. This here we are just getting some hands-on experience about what we discussed in these 2 hours time. Right? Just generate something balance research question, so that you can start your SLR in the evening, right? Based on that question. And while doing this work, if you have any problem, any unclear point, you can ask. And apply few short learning if you want. If you are not satisfied with your first prompt, right, you can go for few short learning and try to do refinements, right? So the refreshment is really outside in the room, right? Outside room. So you can have your refreshment while you're doing your work, and take a short break till 12:30, right? And come back to start the second half of this workshop. So we will start your workshop with the chatbot activity, right? So this is our Jamboard. Now we have one research question. how can machine learning algorithms be utilized to optimize energy consumption and load balancing in Wi-Fi based home area networks within a smart grid environment. So you can have your refreshment outside. Shall we start with the okay, now we are going to start the second part of our workshop. Right now here we are going to discuss the IMRD framework. This is not a new thing, right? You can see, right, what is IMRD, right? But the new thing is we are going to, today we are going to use this IMRD framework with the help of AI tools, right, to generate the content, right? Okay, for that what we are going to do is we are going to generate a systematic literature review, or we can generate a narrative literature review based on the research question or the research idea you have, right? So if you want to generate the narrative literature review, you have to start it with your research idea. Then you are going to generate the gaps or research questions, right? So if you have a research question, then you can start with the systematic literature review, and then you can determine the significance of that research question, whether this is worth to do or not, right? So if that problem is a significant problem, then only you can start and continue. Otherwise, once you complete it, sometimes you face some issues or challenges to publish, right? So therefore we have to consider that, right? Okay, so then here the IMRD framework, this is not a new thing for you all, right? So you can see that IMRD stands for Introduction, Methods, Results and Discussion, right? So these four things we have to organize, right, in literature review or any academic framework, right? Then finally we have to specify the conclusion and the abstract at the beginning of the paper, right? So you can understand the purpose of each of these sections, right? The first introduction. In the introduction section, we have to consider about our motivation, why the problem, the knowledge gap, research for the solution, how to bridging that gap with research questions, and what is our hypothesis, right? So these things you have to include in the introduction section, right? So when you are organizing your paragraphs should be logically organized according to cover these topics, right? So these are the key things we are going to check when we are reviewing the papers. Maybe some of you are maybe the reviewers, right, for your symposium or maybe some journals, right? So as a reviewer, what you are going to do is you are going to check this content first of all, right, in that section. Then we are going to validate the content, right, whether this is significant or not based on the real interviews, Right. To generate that content, we can use artificial intelligence. Right. Not fully, some up to a certain level with the help of real intelligence. Right. Methods needs to consider how research design completes. Right. And whether it is reproducible, duplicatable means reproducible, right? And when you are organizing the content, think about the past bit, right? So you have to write the sentences in past, right? So there we are going to organize research design, participants, procedures, materials, tools, and data analysis. Then when it comes to results, right? So we are going to show the findings, no explanation, right? Just tables, just your report. You are reporting the results, no interpretation about that results, right? If you have a section for results and discussion, you can do both. If it is a results section, you just report the results according to your experimental setups, right? You know, when you are going to develop a technical paper, right? So you have to report the results based on the identified criteria, right? Identified evaluation criteria, and also you have to benchmark the results at the end. So these are the requirements normally you have to follow when you are compiling a technical paper. It is as same when you are dealing with systematic literature review. You cannot find it as it is in narrative literature review because these are some survey kind of papers, right? And here you are doing something technical than this. Why? Because you have to statistically prove significance of your research question. That means you have to do something here that is actually this is meaningful than narrative literature review, right? Systematic literature review came actually from the medical domain, not from the IT or any other engineering discipline. This is for doctors actually. Systematic literature reviews for doctors, right? And there is a specific model to do that systematic literature review. We call it as PRISMA model, right? I hope you know about PRISMA model. Don't worry if you don't know about that. I have shared one research paper with you in that resource folder, and that research paper clearly explains all the steps, right, related to how to compile systematic literature review by following the PRISMA model. That is not a difficult thing, right? It's a procedure, right? So you have to do your work according to that procedure. That's it. Nothing more than that. It's not a difficult thing, right? But after completing your literature selection according to that PRISMA model in systematic literature review, you have to report the results to determine the significance of that research question. I told you, you are going to collect the literature articles based on this research question. To support this research question, not support actually, to determine the significance of this research question. If you can prove that this research question is significant, then you can actually start that implementation work, because there is a work to spend some time to complete that work, right? But here that is different. In general, the conventional literature reviews, we do the survey first and we do analysis, and then we try to explain, we actually narrate, we try to explain the content in the different field, or according to the chronological order, or according to the maybe methodology wise we can do the review, right? So it's based on your themes, right? You can explain the content as you wish, but you have to enter the literature review with identified research gaps, identified open challenges. If you read a narrative literature review, you get a chance to find out the open research gaps, right? So before ChatGPT, before these large language models, this is how we try to find out the open challenges. If we are interested for certain discipline or any topic, what we are going to do is we try to find out the latest narrative literature reviews, and we read, and we need to find out what are the gaps they report. So then those are the things, those are the open challenges currently available for us to address. Then we take one of those challenge, open challenge, and we directly start implementation. Why? Because in computer science, right, this SLR concept added recently, right? This is for medical sciences, not for us. Even this is not for social science, not for agriculture. Now this is for every discipline, right? Rather than spending your time on narrative literature review, if you do SLR, you can easily publish compared to this, because now everyone knows this is just a newspaper, because you write everything in the papers, right? Sometimes you cannot get the real essence of that particular domain, discipline. But if you try to find out open research problem, and if you try to determine the significance of that research problem, that is something meaningful, right? So then here also we highlight the challenges in that research question. Then we can focus our implementation, whatever the proposal, based on that direction, and we can submit. Understood? So if you want to do your PhD proposal or master proposal, or if you want to do your let's say your research based on your research interest, if you want to publish something, right? So go for systematic literature, right? Also, if you want to secure funding for starting a certain research, right? You have to submit a proposal. So they are also just follow this, right? Okay, now you can understand before these AI tools, we have to find out the recent narrative reviews, and we have to find the open challenges, and from there we directly jump into the implementations. So you know the tragic thing behind that. In the middle of the journey, it takes some time to do the implementation, right? In the middle of the journey, maybe another research team, right, can address the same topic, same challenge, and they can publish the solution before you. In that case, your effort you put to address that problem is not planning. Again, you have to go back and you have to find a new research problem. No one, because actually it depends on the university or depends on the evaluator, right? The evaluator is a very talented or a very genius person in that area. They know, right? All the publications, standard publications in that area, they can see, right? The training, right? So even they search, even you are presenting, they search whether this problem is worth to handle for the moment according to the current published, right? So if they notice that this is already published, they say no, this is not a valid significant work, this is already published. Then you have to go back and you have to start your work again from the beginning, right? And that's why we are going to do this SLR. First we need to find gaps, and we are going to do SLR and find out the significance. This is a statistical proof, right? This is a statistical proof that you are going to get for your research problem, your hypothesis, right? So then you can understand how long it will take to be produced by another team. Then you can think of, right, your time and the chances to publish it is again by another team. Then you can decide, okay, this is a real problem. It will be as it is for maybe another 3 years, 4 years. In that time, I can finish my work and publish. Understood? Right? So therefore, pay attention to it. Right? And now, after recently, now we are doing systematic literature reviews, right, for computer science and IMRD, and we try to show the significance of our research problem with that publications. Clear? The idea, the difference between these two publications, right? Okay, so this is the starting point. I know you spend ample amount of time to find the literature, right? To read them, right? So don't forget to publish, right? Use some value for that effort. And also, compared to your technical paper, maybe there is a high chance to get more citations, right? So this is SLRs, right? Maybe if you can complete a groundbreaking work, maybe you can get citations. That is a different story. But I'm just telling according according to the statistics, right, you can see you can easily score citations for the reviews than technical papers on average, right? It's not applicable for all, right? Okay. Now I was talking about the results. You know about discussion. Then after that, this is the time we are going to interpret the results, the reported results, interpretation of results, comparison with previous studies, implications, limitations, future research directions. You have to explain there. See the future research directions. Right? This is very important, right? For any study, right? See here we are summarize findings, comment on them, collect them to questions, other research, and we highlight the implications. Then finally, we have to complete the conclusion part. There we are going to summarize the findings, research contribution, final remarks, and the future directions. And here you can change the future directions depending on the work you are going to do, right? So this is another place where you can highlight the future directions, right? And if you mention them in the discussion, you can ignore it from conclusion, right? Okay, so but actually the conclusion is the right place to put the future direction, right? And then finally you have to write the abstract. After completing your paper, you can write the abstract, right? Then there you have to highlight the research objectives, methods, results, and conclusions. After writing the report, it should be very short, overview, structured, autonomous, searchable, and you have to consider about searchable keywords, right? Searchable, good keywords, right? With that abstract section, right? So this is what we call IMRD, right? You spend a good amount of time to compile your papers, right? And you know how that paper writing or compilation is difficult and how long it takes to get published, right? Now we spend maybe nearly 1 year to complete one paper, then it takes more than 2 years to get published. Then when we get the acceptance notification, maybe the content is out there, right? So something happened like that, right? So we have to think of that, right? If you really consider about your profile, right, academic profile, right, you have to think of that. Don't do unnecessary publication to make your profile large. No point, right? So always think about getting this and the impactful publications, right? Maybe your set of publications is less, right? There's no bogus publications, right? The real publications are there, but you are good research, right? Think of your profile. Think to grow your profile in that. I can see, right? In some profiles, so many abstract publications. Right? Maybe to get the printout of the CV, we have to spend maybe 20 pages to see the abstract response. But all are published in global conferences. Maybe it's not indexed somewhere. No proper peer review, right? So that is not good for you, right? So if you want to publish your work somewhere else, go for strong peer review process. Sometimes, we want to get published our work very fast, very soon, right? But you need to understand, rather than publishing it, getting the feedback is very important, right? So then we can change, right? We can change our work and we can improve. After you publish your work, everyone going to see, check your work, right? And they try to cite, they get the motivation to cite your work. So they get the motivation to cite your work only if you did right. Right? Check your profile and see, right? How you get the citation, what type of publications you already got the citations, right? And again, when you are going to publish your work, always try to select the good journals, right? In-one journals, right? Then you can understand the level of work you need to complete, right? To get that publications. Maybe you can have, maybe per year you can publish 1 or 2 maximum. That is enough, I can see. That is enough if you can publish 2, right? At least 1, that is enough, right? And you can try very good conferences, right? IEEE conferences, because those conferences are index conferences. don't publish your very good work for these local conferences, right? The faculty symposiums, these type of, right? Don't do that. But you can publish abstract for these faculty symposiums, right? Because these conferences or whatever symposiums are not indexed, right? So always keep the short things, the limited things for those conferences, and publish great things in the good conferences, right? To get the, because you have to invest your time for get good feedback, right? Improve your profile. That is how you have to think, right? Okay, so then now I hope you can understand what is this IMRD stands for. That is not a big, right? Okay. Now I'm not going to spend time to explain each and every section in detail, but for your information, I have included all the details in the slideshow, right? Then later you can read and understand the meaning and the expectations of each and every section, right? So I'm going to focus on how to use AI tools to complete or compile these sections with the help of these AI tools, right? Okay. Now the very first thing is we have to write the introduction section, right? We have to write the introduction section, right? So when we are going to write the introduction section, we have to write our motivation, capturing the reader's interest. It's important, right? When we are writing, right? So for that we have to explain our motivation and the background information, providing relevant context and literature overview. Problem statement, clearly specify the exact problem you are going to address in that particular topic, right? Or that domain, right? And the thesis statement, that means maybe your hypothesis you are going to just present in the main argument you are going to claim, right? We can say your contributions, right? And then purpose and scope, right? Stating the research objectives and any limitations. No need to specify the limitations in the introduction. You can write the limitations in the conclusion section or discussion section, but you have to emphasize the objectives and conclusions, right? So these are the things you have to organize in the introduction section, right? So then after that we can move on to the most interesting part, literature review, right? So now you have the research question, right? You have the research question, that means the problem, right? So can you generate, right, introduction, right, with the help of these three large language models, with the help of with the evidence of literature. So some you can see some large language models generate or give some directions to find the literature also, right? So you can ask the literature, and based on that you can generate the introduction section, right? Okay. Now you know how to do that. You have to use your prompt engineering for that. But let me explain another technique. Right? If you use GPT-4, right? If you use GPT-4, now you know in order to do any research, right? You have to find out supporting papers, right? Supporting literature to formulate your hypothesis. That is obvious, no? Right? We should have some set of papers to show, right? This is the place where we can find out this problem, like that, right? At least 3-4 papers you should have, right? Explaining the same problem, right? So what you can do is you can upload, right? So these 4 papers and ask these large language models to summarize, right? Or they formulate the review, right? Highlighting these gaps. Or you can go to the few short learning, right? So you can ask, extract the challenges. First you get the challenges, right? Then you can ask, okay, synthesize or criticize these challenges with the open current issues or current demands, right? So likewise you can go for a few short learning, right? And then step by step you are going to generate a very powerful background section for your introduction, right? The rest you can give some proper, you can craft your good prompts, and you can ask this large language model to generate the paragraphs, right? So what you can do first, you write one complete prompt asking to generate or giving the outline, right? Giving the outline for the introduction section based on the given or the identified research question. Then you can see the structure. Then go to the few short learning, and then step by step try to fill the paragraphs. And when you are writing the prompts for filling up the paragraphs, give the complete prompt. What you want to highlight, what you want to explain. When it comes to the background paragraph, I think you cannot do that. Upload that papers and ask GPT to summarize, right? So then that is one way you can easily extract the contents, right? If not, you have to go for the conventional way and extract the background details and put it there to complete your paragraph, right? So can you do that within 5 minutes? Right? So you have to generate at least 3 or 4 paragraphs, right? To satisfy these things. Now you have your research question, right? So you take this outline, background, research problem, objectives, hypothesis, and the questions, research questions. Also you can add contributions as well, right? Contributions as well, right? So now can you do that? Based on your research question, try to generate the introduction section, right? So when you are going to do this thing, don't do your work in the same GPT screen, right? Open the new GPT screen, right? Open the new GPT screen, and there you do that, right? First of all, you introduce to GPT what you are going to do. I am going to write my systematic literature review on this particular problem. I want to write the introduction part based on this section, right? So can you give me the topic sentences for 5, complete my introduction in 5 paragraphs. You complete it using 5 paragraphs, right? Then it will give you the 5 topic sentences. First cover this, like that. Also you can add more. I want to cover these topics. They are. So analyzing that, give me 5 topic sentences to start my introductory section. Likewise, you give the details. Then it can nicely generate the response. If you are okay with that, you can go to the next level. If you are not okay with that, what you can say, go for the refinements. Say, I don't agree with your outline. Can you change this step to that? Likewise, you ask. Then ask. It will regenerate your outcome by changing this. Then you can get it, right? So this is what we call few short learning, right? So once you got the acceptable topic sentences, then you start to fill the paragraphs, right? Now I am in the position of filling the first paragraph. This is the topic sentence. So can you cover this point there and generate a paragraph or something like that, right? So again you go for the validation. Don't forget to validate, right? Okay. Now try to finish your work within 5 minutes. The most interesting part is the visual, right? Right. Meantime, now continue. We'll start with another thing. So in GPT-4, so this is GPT-4, right? So you can see this file clip. So using this file clip, you can upload documents, research articles, or whatever document, or whatever thing, right? To this platform, and then you can prompt, right? So I used to upload some documents, right? See, I upload this article. The document contains my SLR. After thorough analysis, can you suggest me a very good formal abstract? Select a section having maximum 300 words, which should contain following areas: background, objectives, data, resources, study and review criteria, participants, and interventions, study appraisal and synthesis methods, results, limitations, conclusions, and implications of key findings. Right? So now this is what I got. Right? So it generates these things. I think this working, so I know the validity of this diagram, right? The content, right? So some places I can edit, some places I can directly take, right? So still you can see this is not a paragraph, it will generate the sections, right? Can you see? This is how it identifies the background. So you can see all of this, you can see that background, right? And then you can see the objectives, data sources, likewise you can see, right? Then after that, what we need to do, we have to use the few-shot learning, and we have to ask GPT to generate content across, combining all these things. If you are okay with this outline, right? So if you want to make any change, ask GPT to make that change and get the list again and again until you satisfy. Finally, you ask GPT to generate content across, right? Covering all, right? So then read it carefully. What they copy and paste now. Read carefully and try to understand whether it reflects your work again. Because still you are in the generated content, right? It's not your mind, right? Your work, right? So if you are okay with that, go for it. Okay. If you want, you can do this as well, right? So let's say now again I'm going to show you. This is how I analyze papers. So I want to analyze these two papers, right? I uploaded these two papers and gave the prompt like this. Can you analyze the uploaded 3 articles and generate a table? This is the output I want, right? Generate a table about the prompt engineering aspects reported in those articles. This is about how to use large language models for research. The study is based on that. Those 2 articles cover how to use large language model for personalized medicine, right? The generated table should contain, now I'm going to explain the columns, right? Generated table should contain the following columns: article name. Can you use, now if I say article name, this LLM cannot find how to get that information. So I gave this article. You can use the file name as the article, right? Okay. Number of prompt types used in the study. How the prompt is generated. List down the use prompts. Intent identified. Task mentioned in the prompt. Expected outcome of the prompt. Availability of few-shot learning. Style of fine-tuning methods used. Prompt evaluation technique. Prompt evaluation results. So the last column, can you extract the exact quantitative evaluation result and regenerate the table. I asked regenerate why? Because generated one table for me before, that one is not the one I expected, right? So I gave it again now. So this is the table I got. Right? But again I am telling you, this is a kind of a AI tool to read the papers, right? Sometimes it can get the wrong outputs, right? Incorrect outputs, right? So therefore you have to now it is easy. Now you can find out. You can actually search the paper and you can find out where this information actually reported, right? So then you can quickly check it and verify. Understood? Otherwise, we don't read all the things, right? But now, also you can ask, right? Reanalyze the paper, tell me, show me the exact phrase where we can find out the number of prompts used. Then again, it will then show the evidence. You don't need to read it. You can get it from the LA. Understood? Right? So these type of verifications you can understand. Now, if you are not happy with this, let's say I want to get how the prompt is generated, right? I'm not sure about this. It says in the code.pdf paper, the prompt is generated automatically. I'm not sure about it. I can ask, right? Can you reanalyze the code.pdf paper I uploaded before and show me the exact phrase you found where that automatic prompt generation reported? Then you will show this is the section. Then you can verify, okay, it's true. That you can find it from the paper and directly. So then that is it. Then you can verify again. That is why I told you real validation is important. Right? Human validation is important. But this is easy. Otherwise you have to read everything, keep everything in the Excel sheet, and you have to analyze, right? You can minimize that with the help of this. So at the time, I think the GPT-4 can analyze 10 papers, 10 research articles, 10 documents. And if you want to analyze more, so you have to do it again and again, and then finally you have to pass. Right? So after getting the table, you can pass the full table in one Excel sheet and ask to interpret. Right? So for the discussion, you have to interpret this table now. Right? You know to do that. You can ask GPT to interpret it. This is my table, interpret it. And if you want to highlight some specific things, you can give that in the prompt. I want to highlight these points in that interpretation. Something like that. Then it is easy. But don't copy paste again. Why? Because the way the model understands the table is different than you. You have to verify. Understood? If you have questions, please ask. Meantime, while you are doing your work. Also, you can give the prompt saying that I want downloadable CSV file. So this is the table it generates. See, in the prompt I mentioned, I need 10 rows except the column title row. Then give me the downloadable CSV file. If you put like that, then you can get the CSV file. Everything is in the Excel sheet. Then it is easy. Then you upload it again to the whatever LLM you want. Ask to interpret it. Then you get the paragraphs. You give the paragraph structure. What type of, what is the way you want to do that, right? then it is easy. See here I uploaded text. Right? For my studies, I think I read nearly about 400 research papers, right? Nearly about 400 research papers, and I had to extract nearly about 120 maybe the papers for my literature review section in the thesis, right? Reading 400 is not easy, right? Only 1/4 of that complete volume is useful for my work. Maybe I downloaded maybe more than 1,000, right? See how long you have to spend for this thing. Now it's worthless, right? Spending time in such a way, right? So if you know the technique, then you can use it with the help of these AI tools, right? Still you are there, not the model, right? You take the model as the assistant, right? And you are responsible for the writings. And I will show you an interesting tool after this, right? After the introduction section. So we are moving to literature, right? So yeah, I will show you very interesting tool, right? Unfortunately, most of these tools are not free. You have to pay, right? But there are some tools, certain aspects you can get for free, right? But if you are really bothering about your research, spending 6,000 per month is not wrong investment, right? But you take that resource and then you can unsubscribe, right? So whenever you want to do something, you get the subscription. Then once you finish your work, you can withdraw your subscription. Okay? No need to pay money. So this is extra thing. I'll show you. This is extra thing, right? With the GPT-4 you can do, right? So you know at the end of each semester you have to collect the student results and you have to analyze to give the C pass, right? So you have to do the standard deviation. So you have to normalize the results and you know find out in each level I'm going to set the C pass, the cutoff, right? If you are not aligning with the standard, right? So you can do that analysis here also, right? So I uploaded my student marks there. I mentioned the day I gave the results, and I asked to also provide me the normalized curve for the marks to standardize. Give me the downloadable 2 PNG images, right? So I got this and I keep this with me as the evidences because in my case I cannot give C pass for 40, right? It goes down, right? So then I have to find out this cutoff to give the C, right? So then there are so many queries, so I have to show the proofs, right? So that's why I will love this, right? So before that I'm not doing that before, right? Because I don't have time to do this analysis, right? But with the help of these tools we can do that within few seconds, right? So another way you can use this tool for preparing your academic training manuals, right? So this is how I use this for preparing my training manuals, right? So I'm teaching image processing. Now this is about getting programs or the examples for preparing my sheets. Segmentation for based on agitation. So I have to teach segmentation, then I have to prepare that manual for that, right? prompt engineering to get the useful information to prepare the appendices, right? And let's say if I get some code from maybe from website or from the book, so what I can do is we can give that code to this large language model and ask large language model to explain it for us, right? So then it explains each and every step, and if you want further explanation with more examples to give the few shortcut, then it will generate the explanation for you, right? So you can easily validate because you are the experts in that area, right? Okay, then it is easy. Otherwise, we don't have time to spend hours and hours to prepare the materials, right? With the workload we have, right? So these are the easiest and trustworthy ways you can use to minimize or efficiently use your time to do your job, right? So these are the ways I use in large language model for my work, right? And then what about your data? So if you upload your personal data, let's say exam marks, right? It's this is sensitive data, right? So why don't you ask that question? Where that data is we upload this to cloud? Because we are showing marks, right? I uploaded marks, right? Yes, my marks, that marks is still there in the cloud, right? If I cancel, if I delete that GPT interface, that's right? It's no longer in the service, right? But this is just for the demonstration purpose. That's why I uploaded that and keep it there, right? But usually I uploaded sensitive things after the thorough analysis, right? Then I'm not keeping it in the cloud, right? And if you want, you can change, you can do some changes to your that sensitive data, and you can upload, right? Then that exact data is not there, but some representative data is there, right? Then you know how to do the real data and give the prepare the report, right? So don't upload the sensitive data and keep it over the cloud, right? That is one of the things. But if you cancel, if you delete this GPT interface, it is no longer in the cloud, right? But now you can see there are so many my interface. If I uploaded some research papers, so whatever that is done, right? If I delete that interface, then the entire profile related to that interface is going to be deleted, right? Okay, so those are some extra things you need to know. Right. I hope you finished your introductory part. It's 75 at this level. Second one explain කරන්න වෙනවා. මම මේක තමයි ඉගෙන ගන්න. Differential equation. Partial derivatives. ඒක මම හදාගන්න පුළුවන් ළමයින්ට
ඒකනේ ෂුවර් නැති ෂුවර් නැති
මම ඒකට එක්ස්පර්ට් නෙමෙයි මැත්ස් එක්ස්පර්ට් සියයට 80කට ආසන්න ඇකියුරසි එකක් තමයි ෆෝමල් එක තියෙන්නේ බරකට ජෙනරේට් කරනවා නම් මොනවද කරන්නේ ඒක තව වරට ස්ට්‍රෙස් කරන්න දෙන්නේ මේ ඒ ස්ටෙප් එක එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරන්න ඕනේ. ඔයා කියන්නේ මම කරගෙන යනවා. කියන මේ වගේම එතකොට කම්පියුටර් ගේම් නැහැ. ඔව්. ඉතින්ලා ෆයිනල්ස් එකක් දෙනවා. ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑමින් වල ප්‍රොපර්ටි. මේ එතකොට අපි ආයෙත් මේ ස්ට්‍රෙස් කරනවා. මේක තමයි අපිට කොට බලන්න. ඒක මෙයා හදනවා. Okay, now I hope you have done the introduction part, right? So, are you happy with the write-up generated by GPT regarding your research question? So, go for the refinement, right? So, now you can see in these examples right here. So, actually this is these GPT interfaces I used for my recent publication, right? So actually I refined it a lot, right, to generate what I want, right? And then I know that each and every word in that document, the final compiled document is okay, right? I can be the responsible person for each and every word. So that is until I get that confidence, I have to play with GPT. I have to use my prompt. Yeah? Right. So then with the GPT-4, right, I showed you some interesting aspects, right, that you can try out when you are doing prompting, right? So now I will show you another tool. I will explain you another tool. This one for the literature review, right? Actually there are two tools, right? First of all, just see this one. 10 rules for literature review. Define your question and keywords. Search and research the literature. Read the papers critically. Organize the selected papers by themes. Write the review. Use evidence to support your arguments. Use a clear and concise writing style. Be objective and constructive in your review. Include a strong conclusion. Revise. Right? So, you can use these AI tools, but try to ensure at least these 10 things are there in your mind. So, when you are going to do these things, that means this is the procedure you are doing in the manual process also. You are taking content from different papers and you analyze them and organize them into a thematic way or the chronological way or based on the methods, right? So that is how you compile your narrative videos. So there you follow these things automatically, right? But now what we need to do, we have to use AI tools to do the same, right? So then we can reduce the time we spend unnecessarily for doing this one. Can you tell me how long you spend to complete one paper? Having 16 pages. Journal article 16 pages. Journal article. If I ask you all to read articles per journal article, how many hours you spend to understand one article? Within 1 hour, can you do that? 2, 3, right? Sometimes it takes more than 1 day. Sometimes, right? But see, if you finish your reading, you can understand there are so many unnecessary things. Actually, you are worrying about some specific parts there, the critical parts there to understand. But in order to extract that, even you spend reply. You can reduce this. That's what I try to highlight. Right? Okay? The other things you do with the help of your real intelligence, your own benefit. Right? Okay. Right. So this is some key points for you all to follow when you are going to generate the search strategy. The search strategy means you have to use the academic database, right, to extract the articles, right? So for that you have to use a search strategy. So these are some of the key points you can follow to come up with a very strong search strategy, right? And this is the literature review process. You know these things. I just put this content into the slide to cover all the aspects related to that IMRD process, but most of the stuff you know, right? So here, so these are the steps in literature review. First of all, you have to identify your objective. So what you need to explore, and then you have to identify the resources. Then you have to do literature screening. Then you have to analyze. Then you are going to do the synthesis, and after that you do the further review or further modification updates, right, to make it more attractive, right? So these things you know, right? So I want to discuss this process with you, right? Now here, this is how you use the AI tools for completing this particular task, right? Okay, now first we have the research question. We are here, right? Now this, right? Okay, doesn't matter, right? If you have any research idea, then you can go with narrative review with this cycle, right? Okay, you have the research question, then you brainstorm it further, you just think about it further and try to find out the different directions, different aspects you need to cover based on that research question. Then you can start searching, right? Then you can start searching. When you are going to do searching, read these points to come up with a very good search strategy, right? Okay. So then, for the searching, you can use academic databases. That is the way you are doing, right? And you can find out the papers from there, right? Now, instead of doing that, right? So we can use two AI tools, right, to do this work, right? So here we can use elicit or size space, right? These two are the most popular tools, AI tools for article analysis, right? Article analysis, right? Okay, now in addition to that, you can use this PDF GL. It's also a tool, it's a standalone tool, right? So it is integrated with Copilot, right? So if you have this PDF GL, you can open your research article with the help of this one, and you can chat with this Copilot. I'll show you, right? So then you can extract meaningful information by analyzing the individual papers, paper by paper, right? I'll show you. This is so this is the application. So this is the application. I actually shared this application with you. Then you have to open the file. So this is one research paper. So I opened the research paper. So right. Now this is the research paper open by this PDF here. Can you see here? There is a chat, right? So chat now, right? So you can open the chat, right? See, I did chat, right? So you can get the summarize this PDF file, right? Display the PDF in slide. So these are the common questions people ask, and if you want specific questions, you can ask like this. See, explain the methodology, right? So then it explains the methodology. I know this paper. This is one of my friend's paper. So that is why I use this one to cross-check. So the result generated by this this question, this explain the methodology. This question is correct, and also it shows the pages that I need to refer in the same paper to locate the exact points. Understood? So you can try this, right? So when you are going to do your literature work, and if you want to read papers, right? Install PDF is a free tool, right? So you can quickly read the papers, right? Understood? Right? So this is one. The other way is, right? I have already given that software, so you can install, right? And the other method is you can use this cloud tool. So this is what we call size. There are two, right? The one is Elicit. Elicit is not free, right? So you cannot use this without paying, right? But it's a powerful tool. Even I cannot demonstrate things in front of you because my prior period is over, right? So very limited, right? But if we get the subscription, we can use it, right? The same thing I can do, same facility I can get by using the other tool, that is this one, SciSpace, right? So you can try SciSpace now. So now it is called typeset something, right? Typeset IO, right? Typeset IO, right? So this is the SciSpace, right? So you can get this SciSpace. Okay, right? Now paste your research question. You have the research question, right? Paste your research question under the literature review section. Under the literature review section, you can see the literature review here. You have the generated research question. Now you are going to do literature review based on the research question, right? So paste, you can see what will happen. So this is my research question, right? Well, sometimes you can ask the same thing in a general way, right? So I actually copy and paste the same research question. Now see what happened here. So it generated a summary, right? Using the 5 recent publications, right? So you can see the summary here, right? And see the bottom section. You can see the literature, right? You can see the literature, the papers, right? And if you want to check with the individual paper, you can do that. The Copilot is there. For each and every paper, you can see the Copilot, right? So you can click this Copilot and you can discuss. You can make a conversation with this Copilot about that paper, right? So if you want more information, right? And see if there are some open access or subscriptions, subscribe papers, you can access the PDF course. You can get the PDF, right? So again, I know some of the, now I'll show you, I'm going to do the same process again. I go to the board, right? The generated content is correct, right? I know some papers actually here, right? So, see, you can access the PDF if you want, right? Okay, and also you can discuss, you can make chat with this content, right? Using with the help of Copilot. And another important thing, right? See, here can you see add columns? Add columns, right? So here you can add more columns to do the discussion, article discussion, right? You know how much time you have to spend for this particular work, right? Article discussion to find out the key things, right? So here, see, this is the default dispatching, right? So you can get the limitation, contribution, tutor research, these things you can get. But if you want, you can add some other also, right? You can add some other also, right? See, there are some more columns, right? Actually, I think the paid version, you can try the custom columns also, right? But if you can do these things, that is also enough for complete a very good literature review. You can actually actually you can do the thorough analysis, right, with the help of these columns. If you just click one column, it will add that column and it will generate the you can see, right? So that's it. During my trial period I did that, right? But see, if you want to spend some money, then you can try these tools and you can save your time. But unfortunately, we have to pay for this and to get much more benefits. And also one more thing you can do with this tool, so that is, right, here you can manage your search, right? So you can select top papers, you can limit your work for journals, conferences, and also publication here. So these things also you can customize. And finally, what you can do is, most important thing is you can import the entire dispatching to the CSV file, right? But you have, it's not free, right? And not only that, right? You can extract the literature also to your endnotes, right? So if you click RIS file, if you download the RIS file, right? This is a meta file, right? So it will collect all the citations and put it in one file, and you can directly load that entire file to your endnotes. That is also possible with this. Understood? Right. The next problem is, right, if you are not okay with the list of papers generated, what you can do is there is another option, right? In that option, you can upload your files, right? You can upload your downloaded PDF files. If you are not happy with what this tool generated for you, if you are not okay with this article dispatching, what you can do is manually you can download your papers, right? Then label it properly, right? And then upload the entire bunch to this platform. So then it will do the dispatching for you. You don't need to worry. Understood? Right, I'll show you right now. So then one thing I want to tell you. So when you are downloading the files, so this is the default naming you get, right? You know, it's not easy to understand, right? Default file names will come, and you cannot segregate to identify the research papers, right? So you follow your own naming convention to recognize each and every PDF file, right? I'll show you one technique I use. You can open your resource folder, right? And the resource folder you can see research articles, right? So there you can see this is one technique I follow. I use the first author's remainder here, right, to rename the file, right? So then when I download the articles manually, I create the folder structure in my computer based on the different themes, right? So when we are going to do literature, we don't know the exact thing until we analyze, right? So but we can overall, when we read the titles and abstract, we can understand this paper is for this paper is for this. Likewise, we can identify the main themes. Or in our research questions, if we have different directions, based on that we can create a folder structure and we can do the search and download the papers and put in these folders, right? So when you download the articles, you have to rename it using this type of naming convention. It's up to you. Then you can easily recognize it, right? This is another way you can efficiently do your work. It's a simple thing, but it saves time a lot, right? When you are dealing with many papers, right? Okay, so now even you can try this, right? Just try this. Open this typeset IO, right? And then we will try to upload these articles and see to try to generate the article dispatching, right? Okay, you try this. How to upload? You have to go my library, right? So you have to go my library, select my library, and there you can create a folder, right? Then you can create a folder, right? Create a folder. So I delete this uploaded content, right? Just go on. Okay. Now this is the my library. So you can upload the PDFs, right? Click upload PDFs, right? And then select that PDFs, right? But before that, I think there is an option. I couldn't find that. You can create a folder structure for you, right? For the each and every work, you can create a separate folder. I cannot find that option directly from here. There's an option, right? So you can create a folder, right? Before uploading the files, right? Okay. Right. I'll select this. The literature I have given. I gave 3 files, right? In the resource folder. Select that. Go to the resource folder. Select these. Research articles folder and then select those articles and upload. Upload 6 files, right? Upload. Take some time. Take some time to upload, right? Upload that 6 files. I have given it those files in the resource folder, right? There is a subfolder called literature or something. So there I listed some articles. You can select those articles and upload, right? And then you do the dispatching. So this is another way you can do your literature dispatching, literature survey, right? Okay. Use your personal Gmail. Right. So after completing the task, you can go to that table, that dispatching table. You can have more columns, and you can do the dispatching. But fortunately, if you have subscription, you can download the entire thing to a CSV file, and then you can use that CSV file. Again, you can upload that CSV file to GPT for the interpretation, right? Okay. Then don't ask GPT to synthesize this CSV file for me, right? That is bad prompt, right? So you have to mention what you need to synthesize, right? So again verify with the table, right? Again check the English, right? Maybe the English terms, English sentences may be wrong, right? So you have to check it again. If this is okay, then you can directly go move on to the next step. Otherwise, you have to mention change this sentence in this way. That is wrong. Likewise, you refine, right? Okay. So you have to go with that, right? Okay. In the slide there, there are some sample prompts, right? You can try out, right? To generate other parts of the systematic literature review. Right? You can try them as a homework because we are running out of time. But what you need to know about this AI tools is actually discussed and software, right? And here there are some guidelines for you all to follow, right? To learn about how to do that prompting further with the help of this content. You can try them during your free time. And also I put some steps to follow how to continue with both AI tools, right? To generate different sections in the particle, right? And the same thing, right? And here I put some sample prompts also, right? You can understand And finally, I want to discuss about ethics statement, right? So sometimes we have to write typical ethics statements, right? For the articles we compile, right? Write that ethics statement we can with the help of these PPTs. Actually, the purpose of ethics statement is to address the ethical considerations we follow when we are doing our research work, and also we have to align with the protocols enforced by the university or the ethics review committees, right? So we have to emphasize that we have done data collection according to that ERC recommendations, right? So in order to prepare the prompt, you can get the help of these tools, and here I have included some sample prompt to generate the ethics statement, right? So then let me show you how to check the AI contents by using these tools, right? So we generate the contents, right? So then we have to check it, right? So how much AI generated content are there? For that you can use the size space or ISF.io. So there you can see AI detectors, right? So you can use AI detector and this is not that, right?
Yeah.
Right, so this is the AI detectors. So here you can put, you can paste, right? You can paste whatever the generated content, right? Now, few minutes, half an hour before I think you generated the introductory section, right? So you can copy that section and paste it over here, right? So then you can see it detects the AI content, right? Actually, to compare this, right, there should be a ground, right? So we compare the similarity or whatever based on a ground truth, right? But if this is a generated content, there is no ground, right? So how this AI detection will work, right? So according to my findings, right, what I found out, right, it's about identifying the different patterns, the repetitive patterns, right? So there are some repetitive patterns. So you try to find out these repetitive patterns, right? It's a kind of a pattern checking, right? And based on that, it will detect the AI content, right? So what you can do, there is another option here, replacing, right? Paraphrasing or replacing you can do, right? You can change, right? But actually, I test this tool, right? With different articles I did some time back, right? Because I know that the way I did that papers, right, all the work from my side, not from different sources. So I put it there. Actually, it didn't detect any content, right? Means this detection rate is less, right? It is in the green side, right? And also I tried with AI generated content, but I did lots of visual learning, right? You can create that. Again, I got very less AI detected similarity, so not the similarity, right? But after that, I did one zero shot learning, right? And generate the paragraph, and there I got considerable rate, right? So then, meaning that I want to do rephrasing, right? I have to find out some, the repetitive, it will highlight, right? These colors, it will highlight, so where we can find this AI generated content, right? So then you have to spend some time and you have to replace it and recheck it, right? But for your knowledge, your information, right? Still the researchers are going on to find out the strong tools, right? Then the AI plagiarism. We can't say it's plagiarism. It's a kind of AI content, adding AI content, right? It's not. We can't say plagiarism for that, right? They are not taking someone else's work and say then because ChatGPT is not a person. ChatGPT is not a researcher, right? It's a tool, right? Okay. So then normally we actually say that plagiarism for we are taking someone else, some person's work and claim it as our work without giving any credit. That's the thing, no? Right? But here it's not the scenario. Here it generates a term. So we try to make this, right? Okay. Now you learn, I think more than 6 different tools, right? Today, right? To do your academic writing work, right? So that is all I have to share with you today in this workshop, right? Then I need I hope you achieve these outcomes by spending 4 hours here in this workshop. Now I think you know how to evaluate effectiveness of different AI tools by comparing their features, capabilities, applications in various academic contexts, to develop advanced prompting strategies and techniques to minimize the utility of AI tools, maximize the utility of AI tools in academic writing and research, to implement the IMRD framework using AI tools to enhance the structure and quality of academic writing, and finally, you know how to formulate the SLR by compiling and validating relevant sources using AI tools for evidence-based validation and technical considerations, right? So, in the resource folder, there is a PDF file. It's about how to do systematic literature review, right? Please read in your free time. It clearly explains all the steps you need to follow in order to come up with a successful systematic literature, right? As a takeaway of this workshop, right? I encourage you to publish, right? At least one systematic literature review with the knowledge you gain from this workshop, and also you are from various faculties, departments, right? Your IT staff actually, right? So try to disseminate this knowledge to non-IT academics in your department to make them aware about these AI tools to do their research work, okay? Right? And this is the final message that I want to share with you. I extracted this from Stefan Hawking. The development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race, right? So still we are in the first era of AI, right? Still this AI is not strong enough or cannot beat the real intelligence, but the third era of AI can beat the human thinking patterns and human intelligence, right? So in that day, I don't know when that day will come, right? So that day, the AI can control the world, right? So that is the end of the human generation, right? So but until then we have good things that we can use, right? And we can use this technology to make our life easier, and we can develop smart solutions to help the community, right? So take that technology as it is to do your research work and the outcome and improve your impact. And this is the last activity you have to do. So now I want to see your competency level after completing this workshop, right? So can you please scan this QR code page, right? And can you please rate, right? The same questions, right? Based on the knowledge you gain, or based on the improved knowledge you gain in this 4 hours of time in our IT center, same in the IT.
Okay, so now IT Center is planning to conduct this type of workshops in future regarding how to use AI tools for different some of the various aspects, right? How to do teaching and with AI tools, right? And how to do administrative work with AI tools, right? So likewise, there is a series of workshops in future. So we are planning to do that, and this is the first attempt. Right? I hope you learn something by spending these 4 hours here, right? And thank you very much for participating in this workshop with the short notice. And thank you very much for your comments, responses, because these comments are really motivated us to change our methods and implement new learning activities as one of the key centers in this university. Also, I would like to thank the Staff Development Center for helping me to record this workshop. And also, I would like to thank the staff of our center. So they help me a lot to complete this workshop successfully. So I hope you will publish at least one systematic literature review near future with the outcome you gain through this workshop. Right? Thank you very much for attending this workshop.